Today in the crypto space, we see the market going sideways at critical levels. Bitcoin right around that $63,000 mark. Ethereum still hovering around $3,000. And the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, a mix of green and red. However, guys, we have some dips. Look at Core, Celestia, and some good bounces to the upside like a Render and ENA. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin, one project that has retraced to some really good levels. And of course, that project is called Kaspa. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. Let's scrape through the top 100 just to get a sense of what this market is looking like. And then we'll take a look at Bitcoin. We'll take a look at of course, the project for today. I want to take a little bit of a look at Kaspa, because Kaspa at the end of the day has been retracing significantly. A lot of good projects right now at good levels of support and oversold, looking for a bounce, and so on and so forth. This is why in the next little while, I feel like it's very important for us to hunt down those bottom dwellers, those projects that have retraced significantly, that are down to those good levels and looking for support. And of course, Kaspa is definitely one of them. Let's take a look at the general market here. We can see that, you know, although you know, we're kind of going sideways, in the last little while, we have been still grinding to the upside. So big picture, a bit of a grind up, but we're slowly flattening out, right? We're seeing that the price action in general throughout the market is kind of flatlining, and the hang time is definitely going to kick in. You can see like even Doge kind of rolling over, almost like it's slowly pivoting to the downside. Cardano already on its way down. We have AVAX already on its way down, and many others that, you know, have been kind of hesitant and, you know, looking for those higher levels, however, slowly rolling over. Chainlink is another one. Near Protocol, big picture, that structure on Near Protocol is epic. I was going to do a video today on Near Protocol just based on that structure. Let me know in the comment section below if you would like me to cover Near Protocol in the up and coming video, but I do see a great structure right now on Near Protocol, looking really bullish. Big picture structure too, meaning that on the daily, Litecoin doing its thing, FET doing its thing, grinding to the upside, and we have Render waking up today, of course, based off the Apple news. Apple releasing some great software using Render. You know, Render being in relation with Apple for the last little while, definitely made Render one of the major gainers in the last bit. We see a nice 50% bounce in the last 7 days, which is really good. And if we keep on going down, we have a lot of price action that looks like it's rolling over. Even meme coins, look at Pepe and Stacks, you know, taking a bit of a dip based off of Bitcoin. Of course, we know that Stacks does follow Bitcoin. Considered a bit of a leveraged position off of the Bitcoin narrative, given that it is a smaller cap, and when Bitcoin runs, Stacks usually runs a lot harder because of its market cap. And if we continue going down, the general market is in a very similar stance. Look at it. All these little segments of price action are showing us a bit of hang time, a bit of rollover, a potential dip in the works, and, you know, ultimately a nice confirmation could be put in, a nice confirmation low, a higher low or something like that, at very critical levels. The market right now is in a very critical state. Now look at Kaspa. Despite what's happening with the market, despite the rolling over that we can kind of see, Kaspa's not having anything to do with that. You can see it's getting a nice little bounce to the upside. So for me, Kaspa at the end of the day is showing a lot of strength. And if you keep on going down, again, we're going to see a lot of these projects are rolling over. Sui's looking really good. Another setup today, guys. I let you guys know on the Discord that Sui was looking great. In fact, this is another project. Let me know if you want me to cover Sui or Near Protocol, one or the other. I'm going to to be doing a video very soon on either or, because they're looking great with regards to price action. In the next little while, I'm expecting both to do well. And we can see the price action, across the market. Celestia rolling over a little bit. Lido still in a retracement. Core in that major retracement, still 5.5% to the downside. So one of the bigger dippers in the last little bit, in the top 100. Aave doing its thing. Not bad. At least kind of going sideways, but could at any moment now get that rollover. Athena doing great. Nice rocket to the top, doing its thing. Maybe we continue to the upside. Maybe we get rejected and coming down. Just remember that if projects are going against the grain in the short term, and the rest of the market is rolling over and Bitcoin is showing us weakness, a lot of these projects that are showing strength won't withstand the bearishness of Bitcoin if Bitcoin drops to 52K. So this is why it's so important that we have, a defensive strategy in play as well as an offensive. Meaning, where do you put your stop loss? Where do you accumulate? Where do you take profit? And those defensive and offensive strategies need to be put in place when you get into a position. Okay, so right now, some of them are doing good, like Athena, doing great. But if we get another impulsive move to the upside, I would be quick to take a bit of profit, considering that, the rest of the market is rolling over. As you can see, rolling over. A lot of them are rolling over. Akash Network, KuCoin, a lot of them are just looking a little top heavy and looking for a bit of a dip. And if that happens, we'll be ready, guys. We'll be ready to accumulate at those lower levels. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Of course, we'll take a look at Kaspa soon, but let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still in this retracement. The reality is it's still there. Like I've been mentioning, as soon as we see a change of character in the structure, I'll be the first one to be calling bullish moves. But at the current moment, it seems like the bears are trying to get the price to come down to lower levels and perhaps fulfill a bigger pattern. And what happens with that pattern will dictate the future of Bitcoin's move to the upside or to the downside. Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Now you can see that I did move this out of the way because, guys, ultimately, if we do get a bit of support right into this horizontal line and we end up making a right shoulder in this inverse head and shoulder, it would be a really bullish scenario. Okay, it's a scenario of which I would be willing to go long and really hard. Why? Because, like I mentioned the last couple of days, this could just have been a failed breakdown. Really a sweep of the lows, a liquidity grab, a bear trap, whatever you want to call it. Ultimately, we came back right into the structure and we could be looking for a confirmation bounce off of the previous support. And that would be super, super bullish for the bulls. And that would be something that the bulls would take full advantage of, expecting a bounce. Now, we also have this horizontal that I'm worried about. That could be the next level of resistance. Why? Because it is the change of character point. If we break above this, we change the character of the structure in the short term because we've been making lower lows and lower highs. All of a sudden, we make a higher high, and then the likely target after a bit more bouncy moves, we could get to the previous high area right around 72K more or less, 73K more or less, and that would be a great target to potentially take a bit of profit off the table. In the meantime, what we do have to keep an eye on is Bitcoin is still trending to the downside with regards to momentum. The expansion is still moving down, and on the daily, we are overbought. The volatility is overbought, which means that we could come down for a dip. And upon the dip, given the fact that the momentum is trending downwards and the volatility will also be trending to the downside, it leads me to believe that this could be a big impulsive move down to perhaps, test the previous lows and make a lower low. We don't know, right? So if we do not make those lower lows and we see weakness in this impulse to the downside and we make a higher low, then we're getting an indication that ultimately the bears are getting weak, and it's a sign of bullish divergence. And that's what I'm going to be looking for, guys. And the next impulsive move with regards to volatility, if it doesn't bring down a lower low as it did in the past, it's sign of weakness, even if the volatility gets oversold. So we'll keep an eye on that. And of course, I'll be getting in for a nice bullish bounce as we do produce a confirmation low, a higher low right into this area for that right shoulder. And that would be epic. Very, very epic to potentially get a bounce to the upside. And momentum looking pretty good. EMA's green histogram bars up. I would love to see this get pale blue, a light blue, crossover right in here into the trend waves. Trend waves are great indications of confirmations of a pivot, and we're almost there to potentially see that happen. So let's hope that we eventually make a bit of a U-turn to get back into the bullish control zone so we can see the trend in a nice strength for the bulls, right? So right now, Bitcoin, in my opinion, hand back, relax, let's see this thing what it does, and then we can come up with a play-by-play. In the meantime, I'm looking for entries on altcoin. All right, guys, let's jump right into the Kaspa chart. Guys, I chose Kaspa today, and I know I don't cover Kaspa that much. And when I do, at least when I do, we have a lot to say. And what I like about what I see here is that at least the targets were hit. You know, the take profit targets, extension levels, just to give you an idea of what we were talking about back then, swing high to swing low, 1.27, 1.618 zones, hit perfectly, very, very nicely. And at the end of the day, these are areas where you should anticipate reactions. 1.618, 1.27 extensions based on Fibonacci theory are very confluent, very important zones where to expect reactions based on psychology. Now, all of a sudden, we have a nice retracement after the bearish divergence. Let me confirm, was this bearish divergence? Yes, it was. Higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the momentum, lower highs on the expansions of the trend. You can see lots of indications of a potential pivot, and we're getting that follow through to the downside. Now, the question is the momentum done? Look at the momentum where we are, which is the purple line. Let me expand this a little bit better. You can see the purple line basically going sideways here, as it did here. So which means that every time we get into the zone, we usually wait for another impulsive move. We haven't gotten oversold in a good while. And of course, Kaspa has been tearing it up. Kaspa has been running. The thing is now with this deeper retracement than usual, we actually didn't make a lower low just yet. And that's what we are currently testing at the moment. The previous low, the change of character in the structure. So we're going to talk about the bearish scenario, of course. And the bearish scenario suggests that if we break below this low, we're falling. We're coming through a potential weak spot that we can see here. A bit of weakness right here. As you can see, we have a volume gap right into this area. Not much happening with regards to price action to act as support. But as the momentum goes sideways into this level, the market could eventually build a bit of confidence to expect it to get a bounce, as it has done in the past. Remember, you know, the trend is your friend, and if we come down here and trend sideways for a bit and get a nice sideways consolidation, we can put a bit of confidence in this price action. The only thing that keeps me concerned, again, from a bearish perspective, is that the expansion is still pushing down. Look at the red expansion right into here. You can see it right into here, that it's expanding still to the downside, which means that we could come down for another dip. However, we do see that this expansion is much bigger than the current expansion. And as the price is falling, we're seeing the expansions actually get smaller. And if we do end this expansion and start tapering off and close this expansion to the downside off and eventually expect a nice bullish expansion, a nice green expansion to the upside, then what we are expecting is this to become a bullish divergence as well. So we're diverging with regards to momentum, we're diverging with regards to expansion, we're diverging with regards to trend, and everything is suggesting that we could get a pivot point here on Kaspa. Now, ultimately, from a bullish perspective, you know, breaking above the 200 daily EMA is absolutely necessary. And again, from the bullish perspective, this trend, guys, it's a very clear trend that we see on Kaspa, and the market in general has been producing a lot of strong trend lines to the downside in the last little bit. We've been trending to the downside for a good while, so we got to understand that this is an opportunity to expect a trend break. Now, trend breaks, you do get some volatility, especially as we approach horizontal supports, very critical ones for that matter. And in this case, we're going to see that the bulls are going to want to protect this retracement, and it's a very deep one. You know, 886, probably even lower type of retracement. The question is, do we use this horizontal support, or do we come down to use this horizontal? Because we do have a bit of jitter of supply and demand down here. The only thing that I can say is, based on the divergences, based on the horizontal diagonal chop action, price action that we're getting here on the momentum, it is likely from a probability perspective is that we're closer to a bottom than you expect. Of course, I would like a change of character. So let's talk about the bullish scenario. What I would really like, obviously in confirmation and confluence with the bullish divergences on momentum and trend, is a change of character. Remember, price action is king. I want to see that instead of making lower lows and lower highs, we eventually make at least a higher high or a higher low. Whichever one comes first is fair game for me. I will start dabbling in. And of course, the horizontal, if we do come down here, I might even buy the dip a little bit around this level, and we have a clear invalidation at these bottoms, right? We can put a stop loss in, and we we can, anticipate that we might fall lower. Just keep in mind, again, we have a spike of volume right into here based on this that could act as support. That's one of the issues. What about if we fall right through and then eventually we basically get a pop to the upside and then we continue to the upside and you get, stopped out and you incur a bit of a loss, which is so unfortunate. But nonetheless, guys, if we do get support and we do build structure, there's a bit of confidence that we can put into play. And because we build confidence, we can get in with bigger position sizes. So just understand that position size is one of the way you can mitigate your risk. Don't bet the farm, and build over time, your positions over time as you get the confirmation. So what I'm trying to say is, let's say we come down, let's say we go up, whatever the case is, let's say we break trend, let's say we get out of this level, we break above this high. Let me make this a bit bigger. We break above this high right here. Let me center this for you guys. Wrong tool. Let me center. And let's say we do break this trend and we break above this horizontal right here. This horizontal needs to be dealt with. We break above, we continue, we make a higher high, which is great. Then we get a retracement, we get rejected maybe around here, point of control, these previous highs, which is going to have a lot more resistance. Look at this, look at this, look at that, right? Then we come down and we get a higher low. All of a sudden we make a higher low, we made a higher high, and now we're going for a higher low. Upon this break, we're going to get a huge expansion. Upon this dip, this is a confirmation low, a higher low. Upon the confirmation of this being a shoulder, a head and a potential shoulder, and this being a neckline, we can anticipate that we're going to get a massive breakout out of this area, giving us this pivot point type of structure with bullish divergence into here, a bit of follow through, a confirmation low, a higher low, and then all of a sudden the trend is your friend and we're moving to the upside. So I feel like we're a bit early in this area, but again, guys, this is where the play-by-play happens. This is where you need to start, coming up with a plan. And this is why we stay one step ahead of the market here on the channel, so that we can be prepared for whatever is yet to come. Yesterday, we talked about mint layer, and mint layer right now is at critical levels. Guys, if you missed out on that video, go check it out, because the setup right now is perfect in the sense that you could put a tight stop loss and mitigate all your risk and potentially get a bounce at horizontal levels. Mint layer right now is testing that level. If we break below, fair game, stop yourself out, reaccumulate at lower levels, fair enough. And we could apply the same theory right here. Now, what if we come down a little bit lower? All fair game, guys. Look at that. We could come down to this horizontal support, lots of accumulation. Look at all this volume into this area. But really, the trend could be our friend in the sense that we continue for another lower low. So price structure, I would start DCAing into the price structure. I would buy a little bit now, buy a little bit on a confirmation, a little bit on a rally up of a break of a high, a confirmation low, and kind of build a position into this area, buy local bottoms and local tops all in this zone, because we could go sideways, like I mentioned, in the next little while, and eventually accumulate a nice little bag for a nice pop to the upside. And then, of course, where do we start taking profits, guys? Previous highs is one of the areas where I would be worried about, of course, taking a bit of profit off the top, 10% or so, trailing up a stop loss, and then letting the rest run and start looking for extension levels and psychological nice round numbers and so on and so forth. In the meantime, guys, let's play by play this. Let's make sure that we focus on our entries, because this is where we're at. If we hold this horizontal, we're good. If we break below, guys, look at the empty space that we have. Emptiness until we hit this wall right here at about 5.6 cents. So this is it. This is why if we break below, you may want to mitigate your risk by stopping yourself out, and then contemplate a reaccumulation at these lower levels where you can get a bit of a discount. We're talking about at least 50% right around this level. It's about 40% discount from the bottom to from the top right here to the bottom, which means that you can basically double up your position size. Upon a bounce, you'll be in some great profit. Guys, if I've offered you any value here in the video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm, helping the channel grow. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.